This is Stephen Sloan. The date is December the 9th, 2015. This is an interview with Lieutenant Colonel Alan Smith at his home in Mott, Texas. Thank you, Colonel Smith, for sitting down with us this morning. Now, so we started and we were talking about some of your early background, and you were telling me a little bit about your father.
Right.
Could you tell me that?
Right, right. My father was a strong, courageous, energetic black man. I've said background, he was a family man. So he met his wife, Miss Versa May Smith. They happily bore 4 boys and 9 girls. Dad,
what was his name, Dad?
I could only surmise Ellis Smith.
No, that was your grandfather.
That was my grandfather, that's right.
But your dad's name was Roosevelt?
My father's name was Roosevelt Jr. He was a junior.
And I also neglected to say Michael Smith's here, Lieutenant Colonel Alan Smith's son, and also Nate Roberts is here as our videographer. And so you were telling me, I know you were born in Alabama, but your father moved. You said he was a bit of a drifter.
Right.
And can you tell me about the move to Mississippi or some of your early memories there in Mississippi?
Okay.
Yeah.
He was strictly a poor farmer. He had nothing but a wife. When I moved to Mississippi, we moved about 2 miles off the river of Mississippi River, in a 2-bedroom shack. It included that Southern Christian Institute, which was a junior college, high school, and elementary school, about 3 miles from the place that he first moved to. I was born with the spots in my lower right lung. Back in those days, sir, we had what we call midwives. The midwife, my father and mother, and his mother, they had a time saving me. Consequently, I grew up in what we call a baby. I was the baby of a poor family. Mom took care of me until I was about 10 or 12 years old, enough for Dad to get out and work with him. And Dad taught me how to drive at age 12 or 13. Let me back up just a minute.
Sure.
SCI was a farm school, a farm community. I said 1,200 to 1,300 acres. It has a president, several faculty members, and Mr. B.L. Jacobs, who was a farm superintendent. Dad and my father and Jacob got along real well. So he introduced them to John Long, and my father got employment in addition to farm work.
I see.
What was SCI, Dad?
Beg pardon?
What was SCI?
SCI was a junior college, plus high school, plus elementary school. That's what we.
Southern Christian Institute.
Southern Christian Institute.
I see.
Jarvis Christian College of Texas is a member of that congregation.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir.
So he sharecropped cotton, but he also worked at SCI.
Yes, sir. I use the term sharecrop. He really wasn't a sharecropper. He just worked with the school. In other words, the school saw him as a extra man, taking care of the buildings, farming buildings that were burning wood and coal back in the 40s and 50s at our big school buildings. Dad taught me how to drive. So at age 12 to 13, as they would pick the cotton, they would have me come pick with a truck, pick the cotton up that they pull on the ground, and I put it in the truck and take it to the mill in Edwards, which is about 5 to 6 miles from the place where they're picking the cotton. What's interesting about this, the state trooper gave me my license at age 13 or 14, and anytime I would go driving down the road, he'd blow his horn and talk to me or whatever. And when I finished the cotton, ginning the cotton, the ginner also knew me. They knew I was to put the bale cotton in the truck and take it back home. Dad would have read the paper and said, son, you should get between 18 and 20 cents per pound bale of cotton a day. So before I got back home with the cotton, I would go by the Mr. Bankston, Noble. These were the store owners there in the little town of Edwards. And Dad showed me how to cut the cotton, cut the bale, get a sample, and stub it, pull it real good. Get as a sales pitch for the people. So I do what I wouldn't sell it. I take it back and we dump it out on the patio at the old farmhouse, little shack that Dad had built out on. What Dad would do, he would wait till the prices rise, because he knew that toward the holidays the prices would go up. So I dumped the cotton, the bales there, and they made the field picking cotton. They being Mother and my other brothers. I had two brothers that was still home, and they tell me, okay, you can go do what you have to do. Mom would see to it that they didn't overwork me. So she said, I'm gonna have to send Alan back to Edwards to get some pepper or salt or something. And so
you get a lot more freedom in what you got to do.
Yes.
Because of this concern over
which bothered, it never bothered me. Mm-hmm. But the military for 21 years, each job I got, or each position I held, they would have a look at by the professional.
And it's obviously you're 86 and you're still going strong.
Yes.
So. Well, you mentioned school, and school's been a big part of your life.
Yes.
And can you tell me some of those early memories of school there?
Yes. Yes. Our dad would get up and put burros or burros or whatever you want to call it on the mules and tie them to the post. So when it's time to go to work, go to school, the mules would be already dressed, and I would go on, do my little track running or whatever I'm going to do before I take the mule and go to school. But even though SCI was school autumn started in August, Dad had talked to the principal and the professor that I need my children to till I get my cotton under control, and so I started school. But I had a great school education with the people there.
What sort of subjects did you enjoy in school?
At school, math, English. I was going to say history, but I was going to say that to last. History, international relations, those are some high school subjects that I had there at CI.
And were your classmates, was it a segregated school, an integrated
Okay,
school?
now, my son and I was talking that some professors had students my age. They would go to school with us. I mean, with me and other students.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, we weren't known nationally as a integrated school,
Uh-huh.
but I did go to school with white students at time.
And so your white professors, their children were in school.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So, I'm thinking growing up in the Delta in Mississippi, some of your early memories of interactions with whites and relationship, maybe it was in school, or just what are some of your early memories?
I have no memories of any relation with the white race in Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
In any area.
What about Willie Austin then?
I'm going to tell you about Willie. Willie
I'll
Austin.
take your story from him.
That's right. Willie Austin, father, I don't know who his father was, but Willie was a white man, boy of my age when I was in high school. In fact, he graduated with me.
I see.
But he had a sister, Clara Jean, was two classes behind us, and he had a baby brother, Johnny Austin. They were all white. They went to school with me.
Mm-hmm. So he was a friend of yours?
No friend.
Not a friend?
No, not a friend.
Well, all right. Well, then tell me a story about interactions with Willie Austin.
Willie and I would, in my spare time, in that evening, he had an old raggedy car. We'd get in the car and we'd go to Vicksburg. Vicksburg is about 8 miles from Edwards.
Uh-huh.
And we'd go to the movie, and we would sit in the upper part of the theater. That's where we was black, and Willie would sit with me in the room.
Now, but you said he wasn't your friend.
No, sir, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Well, now you got to tell me more of the story then.
Well, in the end, when the movie was over with, Willie would get the car, and I'd go get with him, and we'd drive back to Edwards, our little town of Edwards, and we would go our separate ways.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't know. I consider friendship as someone you talk with,
Mm-hmm.
play with, eat with.
I think that so are you saying that socially Willie was more black than white? I mean he liked hanging around with you guys?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Huh?
So working on the farm, so I'm trying to figure out other things that you might do on the farm, because I know growing up everybody chipped in.
That's right.
And so I know we weren't gonna get by without doing your part. So what other elements were your part on the farm?
Okay, my part on the farm, other than driving a truck to the gin, Mother enjoyed, had us to have a family garden of vegetables, greens, beans, carrots, what have you. And I would work on that in the afternoons when my father was, I wouldn't be driving the truck. I'd work around the house and help keep her garden up. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Now, was this during the war? Because I know the war is going to come along and kind of change. You're already reading about international relations, you told me, so you're interested in that.
Yes,
so
sir.
Can you tell me a little bit about how much? I know you were very young, but kind of your awareness of what was going on in the world and.
Not at the high school level. I got into international relations real good when I hit the Prairie View.
I see. Okay.
And then that's when I started.
I see. Yeah. So when the war came, did it affect your life much at all?
No.
Yeah.
No.
And I'm talking about World War II.
World War II.
Yeah.
Right. No. Dad had some deep, strong not religious, but relationship. When you reach age 18, either you go to college, but you will leave the house. So my oldest brother, Roosevelt, and my other brother, 1 year ahead of me, they left and left me there by myself with the girls. The girls grew as boys. And they worked.
They worked like everybody
They
else.
worked like everybody else, yes. And Dad had also a good relation with them. When you're out there and you mess up and have a baby, let me know where it is so I can go get it and I'll take care of it. So that was very strong.
So the expectation wasn't necessarily that you'd go to college, but you would leave the home.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah.
But the point was, if you should leave home and go to college, we're poor. I can't help you, but I will always send you a box of bread or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
They would do what they could.
Do what they could.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. With 13 kids, you can't send them all to college.
That's right. That's right.
Well, as we were talking about school, and I know you're going to be very successful in school at SCI, you're going to be valedictorian.
Yeah, yes, sir.
So what were your relationships with some of your teachers?
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good. My my math teacher was Mrs. Jacob, and my biology teacher was Mr. Ratton. My biology. My science teacher, I got him. Miss Jacob, my math teacher. And I can't think of it was my social studies teacher. I can't think of her name. But go ahead. Maybe you can.
No.
What was that relationship like with your teachers? Did you have?
Yes, sir. A good relationship, good social relationship.
Dad, who was the teacher that asked you, Alan, where are you going to go to college? Are you going to go to college?
Oh, yes.
Uh-huh.
That was Mr. Ratton. Mr. Ratton was a big fat man, black man, my basketball coach. And I played basketball, plus I ran track. it was me and two other men from SAI went to Prairie View to run track in 44 or 45. And I didn't finish the mile, but I forget the the coaches, Prairie View coach said, "We would like to have you come to our school." And that's how I got a reason to go to Prairie View.
That's how you got recruited. You got recruited to Texas.
Yes,
to run track.
Ready to run track.
Well, before we get to Prairie View,
All right.
Aside from working, you probably also got into trouble and mischief. And you were a perfect child.
No, sir. Mama and Dad told us.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
You die. You're gonna meet people. I want you to stay out of trouble. Don't get in trouble. Obey people. Respect people. And do what we have trained you to do. Mm-hmm. And I don't like to talk about this, but I'm not boasting or bragging, but I never was in any kind of disability trouble at all during high school.
Well, yeah, I think about those values that they gave you. They're going to serve you really well when you go into the military.
That's what my son been basically talking about. Dad, what really got to me was if you put your mind to what you want to do and let nothing else bother you, you do it. And that's what got me through, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you weren't working and you weren't getting in trouble, what would you do for fun growing up?
That's another thing my son would ask me about. I would take my sisters. Doll was 1 year below me. Lillian was 1 year above me. We had what we call the Smith Trio. We would sing. We would go out, go country churches around in the state of Mississippi, in the great song conventions, and we would sing. Also, we would sing at SCI. SCI had a strong musical program that my sisters got involved with as they went to school there.
So it sounds like church was also a big part of growing up.
My father was a great church man, and he insisted that we did perform.
What church was your home church?
Pleasant Grove Baptist Church, there in Edwards, Mississippi. It's long been gone. Stones been chunked at it, but it was Baptist.
Yeah, the SCI is now a historical marker for the plantation that it was, from the 1800s.
That it was originally came out of.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's talk about the idea of going to college when you started thinking about going to college.
Okay. I was 16 or 17. Mother would tell me, "Son, now we don't have any money." So she and a couple of the daughters packed a big old trunk. I forget what they call them, but big old.
Like a steamer trunk?
Yes. Foot locker? Foot locker or a trunk?
No, it's a trunk.
Mm-hmm.
Big trunk.
Mm-hmm.
They fill it up with clothes. You get clothes from the headquarters of Indianapolis, Indiana. They would send clothes once or twice a week to schools such as Southern Christian. Mm-hmm. Mother served as a one of the receptionists to get these clothes. When she would get them, they would divide them out, get some that fit me, my sisters, and my other brothers, and they put this suitcase, this big church trunk rather, full of clothes. They said, Alan, you know I don't have any money. You put this trunk in the line to get a job when you get to Prairie View. When I got to Prairie View, I dumped this big trunk off in the line and went directly to the dining hall. I got a job of bussing dishes. I don't know if you know what bussing dishes is, but I bus dishes for 3 meals, 2 hours a meal.
So you got a job before you registered for your
I
classes?
had a job before I was registered for school. And Dr. Solomon, the international relation guy, was also the manager for Prairie View. He said, out-of-state fee was, I think, $50 a semester. He said, don't worry about the out-of-state commission. You study, and we'll take care of that.
Now, had you talked a little bit about traveling around the state doing singing. Had you traveled much?
Yes.
Before you went to Prairie View?
Yes. As a basketball player, the only school church truck we had was that old 41 Ford truck. Daddy built a body for it, put a shed over it, and he would haul the basketball team around the state, southern Miss, northern Mississippi, Mississippi Valley. I forget the name, some other schools. No, but yes, sir. We travel playing basketball. That was most of the travel I did before I went to Prairie View.
But nothing like going all the way to Texas.
Just for a couple of track beats.
Yeah.
Went to Texas. Yes, sir.
Well, tell me a little bit about. I'm interested in what Prairie View was like when you got there.
Okay.
And I guess it was Prairie View University.
It was Prairie View A&M, Prairie View Agriculture and Mechanical College.
Yeah.
Back in the 50s.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know. Between my job and Prairie View, I didn't have much time to mess around with other things. My son questioned me about this several times. Well, what would you do in your spare time? I had no spare time. 2 jobs at 2 hours at breakfast, 2 hours at lunch, 2 hours at supper, and the rest time was studying or just watching TV or what have you.
Now, what year did you start at Prairie View?
I started Prairie View
47.
47. It was September, August of 47. August of 47. And I graduated August of 50.
I know a lot of schools during that period, you had all GI Bill. So there were a lot of students. There's a lot of students there during that period.
Well, a lot, sure, about 3,000 or 4,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I was never concerned. I was never concerned with the GI Bill or anything.
Well, I know it didn't affect you then, but yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. I did take ROTC for 1 year, but the people has told me that since you go on the Prairie View three time full time, we don't give ROTC in the summer. So they said you just they just dropped me from ROTC.
Why did you sign up for ROTC?
Why didn't I sign?
Why did you for that 1 year?
Oh, I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
It does, you know.
Well, you're going to spend a long career in the military. I'm just wondering what exposure you'd had to the military up until this point, as far as maybe in your family or.
I had none.
None.
I had none.
Yeah.
None.
Did you have an idea then of what you wanted to do, or things you might want to, careers you might want?
No, sir. All I knew is that once I got to Prairie View and was I had courses, some teachers telling me what I could take and what would be best for me, and I looked at some. And I decided I'd work with history, social studies, and education at Prairie View.
Had SCI prepared you well for college?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
Yeah, tell me about that.
No, sir. My math teacher. You win this basketball game, you don't have to take the math test. My biology teacher, Mr. Radden. Alan, you let the boys base around, y'all don't win the game. You got to take the biology test. We win the game. I didn't even know what a Bunsen burner was when I got to Prairie View. What I was signed up for. It was a Bunsen. It was a chemistry. I was taking chemistry, and Bunsen burner was one of the practice lab practices, and it was just something strange.
So you had a lot of catching up to do.
A lot of catching up to do. That's right.
How did you find your classes? Did you enjoy your classes?
I enjoyed my classes. Very much.
How did you get with the debate team, Dad? The debate team? How did you become president of the debate team?
Yes,
How did that go?
Yes. Prairie View didn't have a debate society. Oh, smart me! Oh, well, we don't have one. So I developed a debate society, a debate team. I got one ag man, Aaron Carrington, one biology man, and the girl who's, forget her name, ugly girl. I forget her name now. What her name?
I have no idea.
You know,
We won't hear it now.
Anyway.
She can debate though.
Anyway. We started a debate team, and the very first debate we had was Texas Southern. Texas Southern was an all-black school. They based it, and they came to Prairie View. I was the captain of the debate team, and we looked sorry. We didn't do a damn. We didn't do anything.
Yeah.
We got laughed at by a student, by our own student, but laughed at us, and they won unanimously. And by chaplain, I forget his name now.
He said, "Don't give up."
He came out of the room and I was crying. He said, "Don't what you want?" I said, "What our debate was?" He attended the debate that time. I said, "I was sorry." He said, "Well, let that be a lesson to you." I got my debate team into order. I said, "Look, we ain't gonna do this anymore. We studied. We got information from debate side of headquarters. I forget what it was now, but they sent us the debate material.
Mm-hmm.
We studied the material. We got our little 3x5 cards. We outlined it, and we were in.
So what was the format of the competitions? What did they look like back then?
It was three members on this side, 3 member teams on that side. It was the debate team would start with the man on the school, and he would open up the debate, and then he would turn it over to the enemy side, and they would debate, and it would take 2 hours, took about 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes on each team, and by the time then after they had 2 to 3, I had 3. Then I would give the close.
I see.
And that's the way.
I see. And when would you get the topic?
We get the topics about a month or 2 months ago.
Okay. So you had time to prepare.
Yes, we had time to prepare.
Yeah. Did you have a faculty sponsor for the debate?
Yes. And Mrs. Blackman, she was our sponsor.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
It was a very interesting moment, and that got me started toward the law area, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because I can tell how you talk about it, that it was a real important experience. So
Yes.
What are some things you learned from that or got from that experience?
Number one, know your topic. If it's education in the lower school, lower classes, know your topics. Read and study excellent subjects not related to the subject, but remuneral subjects, so you'll be able to compare. And it was real good.
That's
real good.
So how many years did you do debate?
We debated my freshman year, second year, 2 years. 2 years.
And you started to experience success with
Yes,
the debate
sir.
team.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Is there some moments you remember that stand out when you think about success in debate? Are there memories that come back to mind in particular?
Yes, sir. We were at Jarvis Christian College debating. Welcome. I'm giving the opening address. Welcome. We're pleased to be at your school, Prairie View College, of 3,000 students. Greatly presents you at this particular minute, knowing that they got a smaller school, and I was using that as
You're trying to intimidate them.
There you go. There you go.
So Dad, you're saying before you got this idea, Prairie View didn't have a debate team?
No, Prairie View had a debate team.
So where did you get that idea, or what made you wanna?
I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know.
Because you hadn't done any of that at high school.
No.
So had you seen debate competitions before?
No.
You just wanted to argue with somebody.
Just that's right. Just study, reading, and
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. Well, I know your career. You wanted to use the things you were learning, right?
That's correct,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Yeah. And so you said you were going to tell me a little bit more about history, about your interest in history.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
That's right.
Yeah.
My thesis was the Battle of Vicksburg during the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
That was my thesis. I got a leave of absence from Prairie View for a month to go to Jackson, Mississippi State Library,
Mm-hmm.
where I studied and read and took notes and built my thesis around around what I was going to prove in my thesis.
Mm-hmm.
That the Battle of Vicksburg was lost due to, and I had three subjects that I developed in my thesis. And after I went back to Texas, had my thesis typed up, gave it to Dr. Woolfolk, he was my
Who's your advisor?
advisor.
Mm-hmm.
There were red marks.
Yeah.
Red marks.
It kind of changed the way you viewed everything.
Red marks. And I said, and I went back. I was one student, Bill Downer, and I was wrong. I showed him my thesis. I said, I'm going to pack my truck up and I'm going home. He said, no, you're not. No, you're not. And I thought what Dad and Mom had taught me. When you just make up your mind you're going to do anything, do it right or don't do it at all. And I went back to that thesis, got it all straightened up.
Well, I think that later on, the lesson that he told me he learned was that this guy was writing a book, and the research and the information that he was giving on Vicksburg was supposed to fit his.
Oh,
you see what I'm saying?
It didn't fit what he wanted. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So he had to go back and satisfy that requirement.
Yeah.
And he learned a valuable lesson.
Tricky professors. Yeah.
You know about that, right? Yeah.
So, if you remember, tell me what the reason. Why was the Battle of? You can't leave that hanging out there.
Oh.
Why was the Battle of Vicksburg lost?
But why did you say?
Why did you say it was lost?
Okay. Picture the Mississippi River.
Uh-huh.
All right. Vicksburg was just a city about 40,000 right on the river. It's
On the bluff.
on the
there.
bluff.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
The military, I forget what they call them, but they had set up guns along the banks of Vicksburg. Because Patton, no, it wasn't Patton. It was
Grant.
Grant.
And you have patents later on. Yeah. Some white general. Yeah.
That he tried to tell them, don't have your guns so far apart that you're going to miss hitting the boats
when they come down.
when they come down on you.
Interesting.
And
And that led to the fall of
led to the fall of Vicksburg. You said it was Grant?
Yeah, Grant. Yeah.
He came down 80. 80 was about a highway. He ran right from across the state. And he starved out. He starved Vicksburg out.
Now, when you were reading in history and international affairs, were you interested in wars?
Or no.
No, I mean, I'm interested in the sort of things that you were reading that you found interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What were those sorts of things that you found interesting?
Okay. Civil procedure was one.
Uh-huh.
I love that. I read 2 books on the cabinet, the federal government.
Uh-huh.
I was kind of interested in that area.
So you like political science and all that stuff. Yeah.
Other than that, what?
Because your thinking is, you start to think maybe law school, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're thinking you can be an attorney.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I still, even I graduated from Creighton in 71. I had an idea of setting up my law firm here in Waco. My daughter, Peggy, had graduated from Indiana University, an honor student in law and
Political science.
what was it?
Political science?
Political science.
Mm.
Political science. All right. She never spent a day or an hour in that study when she got out. Let me back up. I consider the decade of the 60s and the 70s was death for young students during our country. I had 4 boys. He's with the baby. Twin boys. Drugs. Prison. Chris. Drugs. Not a single kid, male, finished college. I said, okay, I'm through at law. I put all that crap in my briefcase and closed it up. I will return, I'll go back to my veterans. My, right up the hill up there, see that big old ragged house up there?
Mm-hmm.
That was my grandfather Varner. He had a son, Wesley Varner. He was a good mechanic. He took care of all these old raggedy cars around here, around this community. He was an ace mechanic. I would come up from the VA. I worked for 12 years at the VA as a GS-11. Those old veterans be around his corner down there, drinking beer. World War II veterans. I'd go down there when I get off work, go up down there, and I'd start talking to them, and I would get their claim. They didn't know what it was all about. Get their claims. I'd go back to my office the next day, and I'd file claims for them. Disability claims. One after another. Claims.
Things they were due, but they didn't know about it.
They didn't know about it.
Yeah.
That's right. So.
Well, the thought about what you might do after you left Prairie View.
All right.
I know situation changed. Law school's not in the cards right away. And so take me a little bit through your graduation there, and as you think about what's next.
Well,
So,
before
Sure.
before he graduated in May,
Yeah.
back home, he had a postcard in the mail waiting for him around Christmas time. What was
Yeah.
that postcard?
Yeah, tell me about that. Yeah.
That was from the Army.
Yeah.
They had been bugging me all along that you're a college young, but when you finish college, you have to go to the Army.
Yeah.
I was determined I wouldn't go in the Army because I saw what was happening to the Army guys at ROTC at Prairie View. So went to the Jackson. Dad took me down to Jackson and went to the Navy. Navy looked at my hands. They weren't like they are now. There were scars all over them from the farm, corn, hooks on corn, grass, Johnson grass. And the guy said, we can't take you. Boy, I was glad. We got back, got the truck. Dad said, Alan, why did you lie to the, I said, Dad, I didn't lie to them. They made their own decision. I said, I'll go to the Air Force. I'll join the Air Force. And we can take a break now, but I love what I did when I went to the Air Force. And we can go from there if you want to.
Yeah, you need a break, Dad?
I would like to have a couple of minutes.
You bet.
Yeah, sure, Dad. You're doing great.
We are ready.
All right. So we were talking about your enlistment in the Air Force.
That's correct.
Uh-huh.
Dad said, son, why you tell the Navy that, I said, Dad, you know I wasn't interested in the Army. The next day he took me down to the Air Force, to Jackson, to the department, to the Air Force. I was accepted, and then it took about a week. I was hauled down to San Antonio in a C-47 airplane to join the, so while there, the training was for 12 or 14 weeks. And it was good. It was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
What was in your training? What did they have you doing?
Okay, calisthenics, exercise, running. We had games, ball games. Swimming. That was about it.
Yeah, your basic training was
Basic
just
training.
that, very
Just
basic,
that,
right?
right.
Yeah.
All right, I finished that, and then once again they took me to the hospital. They looked at my lungs, and they kept me at Brooke Army Medical Center for 1 week, evaluating the lungs. My class had gone to Cheyenne, Wyoming. After that, my class, I joined them, but when I got to Cheyenne, Wyoming, I was intercepted by a sergeant there, say, Private Smith, you have been selected to teach white inducted cadets how to read and write.
Unusual assignment.
Yeah.
You tell me about it.
Yeah. So then,
you can interrupt whenever you get ready.
Yeah. So how many black people did you see?
Not
in
a
Cheyenne?
single one.
Okay.
Cheyenne, Wyoming is not known for its African American population.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're teaching these cadets
How to read and write. All right.
So were these cadets that were rural farm boys or something?
They were just
Yeah.
redneck white people.
Yeah.
So that discussion ended in about 2 or 3 months. I was put on the bus.
Well, can I ask a question?
Go right
before you get
ahead.
on the
Go
bus?
ahead, sir.
What did you do? I mean, you didn't have any training in how to teach people how to read.
No,
And
sir,
so-
but I had the Air Force was crazy about that degree,
Yeah,
Bachelor of Arts degree.
that's right. And so, what did you do with your cadets that you were training?
This is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What's your birth date? July 9th, 1929. That'll be 7/9/29.
Yeah.
And I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
I really did. I don't mean to be laughing, being sarcastic, but I did a good job.
Well, it was a strange assignment.
It was
yeah.
a strange assignment.
Yeah.
Well, so Dad.
But let's go back to what we've been trained. I've been trained to do. Whatever you've been taught to do, you do it. Give it your best. Give it your best shot. Go ahead.
So Dad, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Okay, you were at Cheyenne, Wyoming, and they gave you this assignment. What made you apply for Officers Candidate School?
That's a good question. When I got to Cheyenne, Wyoming,
Uh-huh.
I had to go to the personnel office and I put in for officers training.
Yeah.
School. Okay. I had sense enough to know that if I was going to go to the Air Force
Mm-hmm.
and go as high as I could go,
Right. You had to be an officer.
I had to be an officer.
Okay.
So I was applied there and I was accepted.
Mm-hmm.
When I got to Cheyenne, Wyoming, they pulled me off of the board again and sent me back to San Antonio for officers training school.
And you were glad to leave Cheyenne.
I was glad to leave Cheyenne, Wyoming. Yes, sir.
So tell Dr. Sloan about meeting Mom and here in Waco.
Okay.
And then,
Oh yes. When I came back on my first trip back from Cheyenne, Lorraine and I got married. She was a nurse at
Prairie View.
Prairie View when I met her, but she was working at the VA hospital here in Waco.
Okay,
When I got back again, when I came back, I got married.
I see. When did y'all start dating at Prairie View?
Oh, I was a sophomore. Well, by sophomore, she had intern work at a hospital in Houston, and when she was away, I was dating another girl. But when she come back, those two girls met. We had a conflict, and I laid the law down. I said,
You used your debate skills.
I had to put them out. I said, the one who write me the most while I'm in service, send me cookies. That's the one that I'll marry.
And Lorraine won the lottery.
She won the lottery. She won.
And
So we started out. This was the time that took out.
when you came back to Waco.
That's right.
and-
That's right. Okay. We were in school, and I was in charge of two barracks. We had two barracks. We had about 60 men, 30 men in each barracks. And you want to know how many blacks was in there?
Right.
One, me.
Right. At the Officers Candidate School.
Officer Candidate School. One.
Was that because you had a degree?
That's
or-
one because I don't know what it was.
Okay, but you were in charge of these.
I was in charge of the group.
Right.
Maybe because of my good looks. I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
But so Lorraine, he was in Waco. So I said, let me give her a break. So I called her, maybe come down to San Antonio and spend a couple of days with her down here. She came down. Okay. That's the order was set up. Before each formation, a cadet would go to the microphone, say, "This is Cadet Smith. You have exactly 10 minutes before your next formation." And that's all. And he goes in. 5 minutes later, I'd go back to my dad's phone. You have 5 minutes left. And then 5 minutes up, go back. Okay, you ready? You ready to fall out? So they fall out. I let her do that when she did it, and the troops loved it. And
Yeah, this is 1951, San Antonio, Texas.
Yeah.
You know, so he got his wife to get on the speaker and announce the duty.
Yeah.
okay.
But Dad, tell them about when you came from Waco and you were late, because that could have changed your whole career.
Yes. I bought a Ford. Must have been a 48 or 49 Ford.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the white student was here in Waco too. He said, Smith, I'm going down there. Let me drive you. I know a short way. So I said, okay. So I got in, drove. We were about in 2 hours. He said, okay, my workplace is right around here. Your office is up there. So we got out. I got in the car and I drove up to my office. And I walked in, signing in. And the sergeant said, Cadet, don't you know you about 5 minutes late? I said, yes, sir, I know. I was hoping that the sergeant would forgive me. Cadet, you are a training officer. You have no excuse for being late. You will report to Sergeant so-and-so at 0800 in the morning. It was night when I got there. 8 o'clock next morning, I went to he took me out to the recreation area. They said, gave me a rifle, M1 rifle. They said, you are to walk 24 hours around this track. And they had sergeants would be at their station. I had a talk radio that I need some water. I need to drink of water. And they used to come, I go up there to the office, get a drink of water, back on the track. At the end of the 24 hours, I was through.
Well, you know, so you're talking about one African American with all these whites, and you're put in charge.
Yes, sir.
What was that like?
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. Now, the one thing about it, I never saw, in the Air Force, I never saw the color of a man's skin. I had a job to do. I'm in OCS now. I have a training to do. I want to get my bars. And even my officer's training, I never thought about color. I had go ahead.
What about when you went into town to San Antonio to get fitted for your...
All right. I didn't see. I saw they were all white.
Huh?
But that didn't bother me. I was a black man getting ready, a uniform for a uniform, and they didn't say anything. Had no problem at all.
Well, I know you're dealing with, when you're going into San Antonio, you're dealing with segregation still.
That's for
That
darn.
you're not dealing with when you're on the base.
That's for darn sure.
Yeah. So it's a very different place.
Right.
Yeah.
Tell them about this instance about them kicking this man out of the Air Force.
Yeah, you know, when I was researching my dad's story, and in the same time that he's flying this missile from Travis to Florida, there was another officer in the military, and he landed somewhere in Georgia, right? And he went off base, and he refused to go by the Jim Crow laws of the thing. He didn't give his seat or whatever it was, or he said, and ultimately they kicked him out of the Air Force because it was understood or stated that you had to obey the municipal laws of that during that time.
Yeah.
See now, Mom and Dad taught me obey the law, no matter what it was. I had sense enough to realize that if I'm going to put myself in a position where I have to make that decision, then I'm disobeying that law, my dad's law.
So, after officers candidate school, you were rapidly going through Empire, Michigan, Willow Run,
Right.
Michigan,
Okay.
and Laurie,
Okay.
Colorado.
Okay.
Tell Dr. Sloan about those
Okay.
experiences.
When I got my, I was a first lieutenant by then too,
Mm-hmm.
and I was stationed at Willow Run Airport in Detroit, Michigan. And one of my classmates, I forgot his color, but he was white, and he got in a serious accident in Columbus, Ohio. And my commander called me and said, "Smith, you and X go down and see how X is doing, and if you want to, and try to bring him home so he'll be treated at our hospital here at Willow Run." So I got in the car and we drove down to Columbus. And I got to Columbus, I had my uniform on, and the guy was at the gate, the sergeant was talking to some women. They were laughing, and he looked at me and just waved me on. And I said, stop the car and back up. I wasn't driving, but I backed up. The guy backed up. I said, "Sergeant, do you know who I am?" He looked, and I had made sure he saw that single bar, which was a lieutenant. "Yes, sir, you're a lieutenant." I said, "Well, what do you do for the officers?" "I salute them." I said, "Well, you salute this officer, you salute this bar." And he did. And I drove on. I drove about 20 feet ahead. He said, "Smith, you want to leave that man salute?" I said, "Let me handle this." So we stopped. He backed up again. I still wanted to know if he was still saluting. He was. Straight as an arrow. Just. I said, "Okay." I said, "Soldier, who's your commander?" He told me. I said, "You can relax now. Come down. Let's go." That's it.
What about the, you were an MP or Air Police?
Okay.
Empire, Michigan?
Okay, Empire, Michigan. The Air Force, or the Air Defense Command, had these little cubby baskets. I say baskets. They're little stunts. Looking at airplanes, looking at airplanes coming over from the north to bomb the United States. They were stationed throughout the northern part of the United States. Empire, Michigan was one of these little bases. The sergeants, they would have a clipboard, a status board. They would put the aircraft numbers up there when they get them, and they would check them out, and if they go kill, it's okay. So naturally they had guards. So I was walking the post, and I was about 30 yards from this officer. They had one. And I saw a little guy crawl underneath a car. So I stopped and said, "Soldier, what are you doing under the car?" He said, I said, No. What are you doing in that car? He said, "None of your business. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to get that car done. I'm going to blow your brains out." So I had my 45. We weren't wearing 45 weapons then because the Air Force said something that we didn't know how to shoot them. But I said, "I'll blow your brains out." He and he crawled out, and I got his name and number and I told him to follow me. Took him to my command post. Turned him in.
Then, how many black people did you see around Empire, Michigan in 1951?
One.
And you arrested this guy for...
That was no problem. Like I said, I didn't care who he was. Yeah, I arrested him.
But Dad, in 1951, do you know what they were doing to black people just at liberty in this country?
Well, tell the professor what they did.
I think he knows.
He knows.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah.
I mean, just to understand that what you're doing is really unheard of during that period of time. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, sir, if I could get him to understand one thing, I got a job to do,
yeah.
and I'm going to do that job to the best of my ability.
Now, as you did that job, and I want to ask this question: do you feel like you always had the support of your superior officers?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
From day one until I retired in 71, I've always had the support of my circle. And I have two more commanders.
Mm-hmm.
You through now, I want me to finish. Go on.
No, you can go ahead because
Okay.
excuse me, because you're just getting ready to go to Korea. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So we were talking about your security clearance.
Right.
You could tell that story. Yeah.
Okay. When it was in 50,
Now it's in 53. You're
At
just getting
53.
ready to go to Korea.
before I go to 3. Okay, as an intelligence officer, our job as an intelligence officer is to receive information, categorize it, see what it's worth, and tell whoever your next commander is. Also, an intelligence officer briefs the pilots on jobs that they're ready to go. You're going to bomb X, and get into bomb X, you're going to hit fire from this angle, fire from that angle, and fire from that angle. If you hit soldier, your rescue number, phone number is X so and so and so on. Then if you have to ditch or you have to crash land, once you crash land, your phone number is X so and so. And rescue will know that you have ditched and where you are, and they will come get you. That was my job as a rescue officer when I went to Korea as a first lieutenant. Did you show him that group? You showed it to him?
Mm-hmm.
That was my job. It was a phony, even though Korea had ended. I asked my commander, let me give a briefing so that my pilots will know if they call back to active duty, they'll know the procedures.
Yeah. Because there wasn't a treaty, there was a ceasefire.
Ceasefire.
Yeah, that's
Ceasefire.
right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ceasefire. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so, Dad, the reason why it's important that you're talking about this is that you were given this security clearance by the U.S. Congress.
Yes.
At the same time, there's still segregated tank battalions in the Army.
Yes. I didn't know that.
Right,
Okay. I didn't know that.
right.
Now, what about this tank battalion you told me was all black?
Yeah, there was an all-black tank battalion that scored a victory over the Chinese, but they were never acknowledged for it.
Okay.
Never,
Okay.
never.
Okay.
Okay, so now you're leaving Korea, right? And go back to your lungs and this Chinese doctor
Okay.
that looked at your lungs.
Okay. I was in Korea. I just come from a walk around the mountain or down the valley somewhere, and I thought I heard a little hissing noise up here. So I went to a flight surgeon, He told me I'd like to him to look at my lungs. Why, Captain, why you want me to look at your lungs? I told him. He looked at them several times, giving me certain exercise, breathe deeply, slow down, or whatever. He said, Captain, there's nothing wrong with your lungs. I told him, okay, sir. I said, I would like for you to approve my application for flight school. He looked at it and approved the application, go to flight school.
So, your application for flight school was approved and you were accepted into flight school at Bartow, Florida
Yes.
in 1954.
Yes.
Tell us about your experience at Bartow.
At Bartow, I was in charge of 2 flights, 30, 40 men each flights. I drilled them to school, lunch, and dinner.
These are all the cadets at the school?
All the cadets at the school.
Well, Dad, how many black cadets were at that school when you were there?
1.
Just you?
1.
Okay.
That was me.
And so what was going on at the school?
I was flying the little T-6 aircraft. I don't know if you know what a little T-6 is, a little yellow thing, the aircraft they had. My instructor said, Smith, I don't think you're going to make it. I was a little nervous, so we got back to base. He told his commander the next morning, this commander said, Smith, come on, let me, come take me up. The little school, Bartow was a small base. The Air Force had rented 6 or 7 small little bases around there. And they don't know there's A, B, C, D. And we knew them because we were training in them. He told me, take me to a flight to training school D. And when we get there, I'll tell you what to do. On the way, I was climbing we had a certain altitude. I was climbing to 7,000 feet. He said, give me a left turn, Smith, and stall your aircraft. Yes, sir. I went through my procedures, put my prop condition in position, turn the aircraft stall, pull the aircraft up till it starts shaking. I said, sir, I'm at a stall. He said, recover. I rolled the aircraft wing, dropped the nose, full power. He said, very good. He said, climb back up. When I lost about 2,000 feet, climb back up to 8,000 and give me a stall to the right. I said, yes, sir. I said, clear me, please, because he was in the back, instructor in the back. I said, clear me. He said, you're clear. I pulled my throttle back, climb right, he to the right. Aircraft began to stutter, getting airspeed down to 110. It stuttered. I said, I'm stalling. He said, recover. I rolled the aircraft level, dropped the nose, full power, and recovered. He said, good. He said, all right, take me back to your base, Class A. On my way back, he said, okay, pull the throttle on your engine. I said both because I was used to flying 3-engine aircraft, 4-engine aircraft. I pulled the throttle back. He said, all right, you've lost engine. Prepare the ditch. I'll prepare to land. I said, okay, sir. I see an airfield to my right. I pulled my throttle all the way back. Flaps 15, started landing. Downwind, crosswind, final approach. He said, okay, that's good. Take me back to our base. I cleaned the aircraft up, climbed to 3,000 feet, went back to base, landed. He said, Smith, you did a very good job. I'm going to tell your instructor and tell the commander that you will graduate with your class. You did a damn good job. I said, sir, thank you.
How did you feel, Dad?
I felt, oh, gee whiz.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And before that, you were upset. You had Mom come out and
That's
visit
right.
you, didn't you?
When I thought I would be washed out, she was in Waco. I said, baby, better come get me.
Mm.
She flew down there. I made an arrangement with an all-black family right next to the base. Got a room. She stayed there. We went to eat the next day. The servicemen was just wild. She had a. Did you showed them that picture?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
They just went wild. I said, you understand, that's my wife and I'm your boss, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from there, Dad, you went to, this is where I get emotional. You went to Goodfellow here in Texas, right?
Okay.
For multi-engine
Okay.
training?
Okay. I graduated from Bartow. And when you graduating class, you have to choose either single engine, which would be jets, or multi-engine, which of course props. So I chose props. Went to multi-engine.
So why did you choose props?
I was a little bit afraid of that I might not be able to handle a jet.
Mm.
I was being honest with myself.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know I can handle props.
Mm-hmm.
Got to Goodfellow, flew B-24 trainer. It was a beautiful little aircraft.
Mm.
2-engine.
So then, just for what we're talking about, when you got to Goodfellow, how many black cadets were there? Just you? Okay.
Found a theme here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, I didn't see any blacks
Uh-huh.
in most of my career. Okay. So we will graduate that night after we finish. It was about 25 or 30 was in my class, and they had 2 other classes graduating. They had we had 2 couple of seniors pilots. They pinned the aircraft wings on me, because I was the only one to go receive captain wing. I made captain after I finished at school, and so I'm gonna take off. After I took off. I got my dress clothes, went to Waco, till Lorraine.
Yeah.
Thanked her for coming out and helping me out. And at this time she was sick, wasn't she?
Yeah,
she was ill.
So y'all never got to party or never got to
That's
celebrate.
right. That's
She was
right.
sick. And then you were headed to Travis Air Force
Headed
Base.
for Travis Air Force Base. Oh, that was beautiful. I had bought a brand new 50. When did I graduate?
You graduated in 55.
No, yeah, 55.
Yeah, in 55.
55,
Yeah.
blue Oldsmobile.
Oh, really? You were. Okay.
Oh, it was a beauty. Okay. Grandpa over there, but Savannah didn't like me in the first place. So his daughter, his youngest daughter, wanted to go to California. He fussed, but I took her to California. She, Lorraine, and Peggy. No, Peggy wasn't born yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Peggy was born?
Peggy was born.
All right. It was 4 of us. 5. 4. Drove to California. Went by my brother-in-law's house in Los Angeles. dropped her off, went up to Travis. Now what?
Yeah.
I'd love to ask,
Go ahead,
before
sir.
we get too far into this, about flying.
Okay.
Just that experience.
I loved it.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about flying.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I don't know. Flying was something different. When I get to my full-engine aircraft, flying over the Pacific, I got a couple of experiences I'll tell you about. But flying to me was, I don't know, I was just in a different attitude, different frame of mind of flying. It was, you up there, you're by yourself, the motor is humming, and that was when I was in training. I just loved it. I really loved it.
Yeah. The independence of it, kind of the beauty of it. I mean, I can only imagine. I'm not
Yes,
a pilot, but I
yes,
can only
yes.
imagine. Yeah.
It was beautiful. It was fine.
Yeah.
And I had several experiences that I should have been afraid, but I wasn't. I do my emergency procedures. All right, you got a single engine. It's smoking. All right, we have a procedure for that. I would go through the procedure, and if the smoke disappeared, good. Not, would land at one of these little fields that they had checked out. But I never had to land. Same with the Goodfellow, B-24. Emergency. I never got afraid. I never did.
Yeah. You were calm under pressure.
That's something else. I never admitted to him, but that's what Dad would always tell me. Stay cool under pressure. Go ahead. You want to talk about overseas flying?
Yeah. When you were stationed at Travis, and then you were stationed at Honolulu.
Right.
Your route from.
Okay. At Travis Air Force Base, I was co-pilot on a C-54. That was a Air Force cargo aircraft. From Travis to Honolulu, 5 hours flight. Honolulu to Wake Island, 6-hour flight. Wake Island to Tachikawa, Japan, 6 hours flight. We get to Japan, we crew rest for about 2 days. Then on our way back, the same trip, flight back. Wake, Honolulu, Travis.
And so I was looking up, and he was flying the C-133, the big cargo plane.
Okay.
And go ahead and tell
Okay.
him about that.
Okay. He want me to rush. I'll rush. Okay. I had about 2,000 hours. The Air Force received the C-133, which is a cargo master built exclusively to haul missiles from the factory in Southern California to the landing sites in Florida. What was that Florida-based thing?
Cape Canaveral.
Cape Canaveral. They built 50 of them. We got 25 of them. East Coast Matt's squadron got 25. They were 4-engine propeller jets. The basic aircraft weighed 118,000 pounds empty. Max cruise was 18,000 feet at whatever cargo we had. The crew was pilot, 2 extra pilots, 2 extra navigators, 2 flight engineers, and 2 load masters. That was a normal crew for this particular huge aircraft, and it was a huge aircraft. You want me to go down? Okay. I had about 1,200 hours of flight time in this particular aircraft. I'd flown the Pacific for about 4 years. Colonel Jones, my commander, called me and said, "Smith, I want you to take a missile to Cape Canaveral. You think you'll have any problems?" Now, he's feeding me. He know damn well I ain't gonna have no problem, because he knows my condition. He know my attitude toward flying and toward admission and handling problems. I said, "No, Colonel, I'm not gonna have any problem." He gave me the flight number. So I went by headquarters, and the navigator already had 2 navigators. They already had the flight plan made out. The flight plan is a DD Form 175. Aircraft number, crew, fuel.
Amazing how you remember all that stuff after all these years.
And then a couple other items. The crew had been also, when they notified me of the flight, they also notified the crew. So I got at the headquarters about 4:30 or 5 o'clock in the morning. My crew was already there. The co-pilot had already filled out the 175. It was all set. I had the crew outside. I said, "Crew, let's go out for inspection." We always inspected our crew when we're going over a flight like this, going over water. So I lined them all up, checked them all out. They had, all crew members, they carried a bag, a briefcase. And that briefcase gave the flight instructions and what have you. I briefed the crew, and when the other crew members went aboard, I kept my navigators, my load masters out. So okay, I said, "Troops, we go into California, pick up the Titan missile." I said, "How many of you have flown the Titan missile?" And one of them had flown it. I said, "Okay, well, you in charge of the loading and unloading the missile, the Titan missile." So when aircraft clearance was given, I was 2 pilots I knew. I was on the captain. I was a captain then. I don't know when I made major, but I was captain. I had 1 major co-pilot, 1 light colonel co-pilot. I was the captain. That was the crew in the cockpit. 2 navigators. Flew down there, traveled down there, I forget the name of the base in California. But flew down to California, landed, picked up the missile, loaded the missile, and it was a beautiful thing to see. It fitted the aircraft almost, or you could just run your hand from the fuselage through the air, where the aircraft would fit. It was beautiful. That's what the Titan missile was. They wanted the Titan to assist a missile to put the men in space. So we took off. It was a heavy load aircraft. I gave you the basic weight of the aircraft was 118,000 pounds. We were up. We were up about 130 gross weight, up to about 130, 135 pounds. She was 130 was smooth, just like that. I don't know, just like a dream. So we got down there about 20 minutes out. I told the navigators to look out your window, and told my crew members to look at the loadmaster to look out the window. The ground was just covered with white hats. These were the engineers for the missile. They already briefed the loadmasters before we left Travis. So we got there, we loaded, landed. It was a smooth landing. I say this bragging. I was a pretty good pilot. And the follow me, the truck picked me up and took me right to the place where I was supposed to land, supposed to stop for them to unload the missile. Stopped the aircraft, cut my motors, opened the door, opened the aircraft up, opened the back door, done the window up, opened the side door up, and all the white hats were just drooling around there. And they said, he was asking, where's the aircraft commander? They said, sir, he's filling out his form. Anytime we land, we fill out the form, either telling whether the aircraft is good, whether you got a bad engine or a good engine or whatever. There were about 10 minutes, I started walking down the stairs. And I heard one guy said, there he is. And one guy said, hey, that ain't no aircraft commander. I didn't see a damn thing. I just walked. I said, the loadmaster, one loadmaster looked up, and it was, gee whiz, but that aircraft was about big as this house. Mm-hmm. He looked up at, one loadmaster looked at me. I said, wait till I give you the okay. So they said, one guy said, you the aircraft? I'm the aircraft commander. You Colonel Captain Smith? I'm Captain Smith. He said, your crew is right across the street. Your staff car is right here when you get ready to go. I said, hey, there's one thing we have to understand. We fly together, we sleep together, we eat together, and sir, we die together. I say, if I can't sleep with my crew here, this missile goes back, this Titan aircraft goes back to Travis with the missile on board. So a group of them, about 8, got together. Okay, Captain, you will sleep with your crew as you described. Loadmasters assist them in unloading the missile.
See, this is in 1959, and the aircraft commander is in charge of whatever's on that plane until he signs it over. Mm-hmm. Right, and then it's
could have taken it back to California.
Yeah.
And we got back to California. Colonel Jones met me. He told me to come by the office. I knew what he wanted. He asked me, Smith, you having any trouble? I said, Colonel Jones, you know damn well I didn't have any trouble with me. You knew they were going to get on me. Yeah, I knew that. That's why I sent you down there.
Yeah. And then that's what's amazing about your story, Dad, is because that colonel, he had 25 other pilots that he could have picked, right? But he picked you to take that missile down there. Yeah. And
who else we got?
now, after your experience with Travis and the missile, you were sent to Washington, D.C.
Oh, yes.
getting
Oh,
ready
yes.
to
Oh, yes.
go
Oh,
to
yes.
Laos. And,
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
and did you not say that this is
Oh,
the
yes.
most pronounced racism that you had ever experienced?
Gee, well,
This
that
is
was
when you were in
terrible.
D.C.?
D.C.
Uh-huh.
That
This
was
is
terrible.
1960,
That
1961.
was terrible.
You're at this
I was
military institute.
One black was with me.
Mhm.
One
So
black.
there was two at
There were
this.
2 blacks. I was 35 or 40 other white members there.
And what was your mission then?
Mission was to go to Laos, teach these pilots, teach them about aircraft route, where you can fly, where you couldn't fly. And they gave us a book at school what we to teach them. So after about a week, I said I raised my hand. I was mad, but I was cool. They said, "Yes, Captain. What can we do for you?" I said, "Sir, you teaching us to go to Laos and teach democracy when we have to go catch a bus and go to the black section of Washington, D.C. to sleep." I said, "Captain, sir, it doesn't make sense. We didn't write the rules, Captain." I just sat down. And a week later, no, it wasn't a week, it wasn't that long, the mission had been changed. Diplomatic relations had been suspended at Laos. So our mission was canceled. I had put Lorraine off base. She went to a house, a project in Sacramento. And I called her and told her, "Baby, we're not going there. You and the kids get ready. We're going to Rome, Italy." And she was happy as a bee, boy. She was. And when I got back to Travis, I got issued all they had was shot records, diplomat passports. So we took off for Washington, not Washington.
Champino, Italy.
Yeah,
Rome,
but
Italy.
we're going to the airport now.
Yeah. Tell them about that. That's a beautiful story.
Ottawa Airport. That's where we took off from. I'd driven by 12 hours, 13 hours. We checked in, and the flight attendant said, "Captain, where's your aircraft?" I said, "Oh, it's parked outside." She says, "Captain, you got to turn it in at the international shipping.
Right, so it can be shipped overseas.
It can be shipped overseas." I said, "What?" She said, "Yes." Okay, I said, "Lorraine, you just take the kids, go down, go swim with her, and the flight attendant, you tell the aircraft commander that the Captain Smith is going to have his car shipped overseas." Well, you never heard of such a thing. I should have known that the car had to be shipped, and that I would need somebody to get there. So
You're taking a taxi, trying to get to the airport, right?
I had a taxi to drive me from the airport to the shipping document, and to wait on me when I signed my car over to be shipped over, to drive me back to Ottawa. In the meantime, the aircraft commander is having fits. Cause see, if you late in a flight of an aircraft, somebody gonna pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
So he was the flight crew. Lorraine said the flight crew, they were really upset. So the flight girl told the captain, "Captain Smith is back, sir." He said, "Thank you." I guess he told his co-pilot to start the engine, because I heard the roar of the engines. Then I saw him, the captain, flight captain, walking back to the aircraft where I was seated with my chip. He said, "Captain Smith, are you ready to go now?" I said, "Yes, Captain." He said, "Well, I'm going back up now. We're gonna take off. We're about 30 minutes late, but we're not sweating out. We're gonna hit the
Jet stream.
the jet stream." He said, "It's this time of the year for the jet stream be heading our direction. So instead of 4 hours to Rome, Italy, we're gonna get there by 3." He said, "You come up to the cockpit and I'll show you around." Captain, I appreciate your comment, your remarks.
This is in 1961
Mm-hmm.
that this pilot is going to invite a black man up into his cockpit, a fellow pilot, to. Yeah, that's a beautiful story, Dad.
Okay.
So you get to Champino. Yeah, we're almost done. You get to Champino, Rome, Italy, and tell them your duty station and the German colonel that came down to.
Okay. I got the. What was my work order? What was my?
In Champino, let's see. You were the operations officer, and then you were the commander of operations at Champino.
At Champino Airport.
Right.
Okay. We got to Rome real good. They picked us up, and we had to stay in a Quarto Ferrato civilian hotel for about a month because they're way behind in housing.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sweating it. The government were paying for it. See, so anyway, I was in charge. I had about 5 captains and about 3 or 4 enlisted men. We were to monitor aircraft flying across the Pacific, the Atlantic, going someplace. It doesn't matter where they're going, but they had to have commercial aircraft clearance.
Mm-hmm.
And the Air Force had set up this command, this little checkpoint for us to check the pilots. So this colonel from Germany, he was in charge of it. He came down to Italy, flew down to Italy, and came across me. He didn't know I was black, but I knew him. I didn't know him either, but I knew it wasn't no black man. Anyway, he was really pleased with what we had set up to keep this mission going.
Mm-hmm.
Lorraine barbecued steak for them. They had dinner, and they stayed a couple of days there in Rome. And about 2 months later, he called me, said, "Smith, I'm going to bring my men down. I'm going to put my aircraft down and pick you and your wife up to come to Rome, Italy." He put his aircraft in the air or down and picked Leroy and I up, flew us up to Rome, up to Germany. And boy, we had a ball. He showed me his command, where he was working. He had briefed his commander on what a job I had done down in Champino. Lorraine got to ride on the Rhine River. She went with the women there in Germany, the commander's wives and the other soldiers' wives and whatnot. We just had a ball.
Yeah. That was your first experience in Europe.
First experience in Europe.
Really different.
Different with, yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Really different.
Yeah.
But tell them about that officers' party. That
right.
That was kind of
right. Oh, the officers' club would have a party, I guess, once a week or once a month, and we'd put on our formal uniforms, and go. But this one party, it was just me and my crew members, flight crew, my members, and their wives. And there were two majors there had come to take over my command. White majors. Mm-hmm. And they was all drinking and having fun, I guess, and started singing these songs with black images. Old Black Joe and some other.
Right there.
And Lorraine and I looked at each other. Normally we would get up and leave, but since I was overseas, I thought, baby, let's sit this one out.
But it kind of made you uncomfortable. Were they mocking or?
Well, they were laughing and having Blake Joe. What's the other song?
I don't know.
Anyway.
But the feeling that you had was
terrible.
It was a racist thing.
Racist thing. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
They were upset because they had to serve under me until their date came for them to take over. I was just a captain, and they were majors. But it was the first. That was the first time I met racism overseas.
So tell Dr. Sloan about while you're in Italy, you got the orders to go teach at Tennessee State. Because that kind of changed your career a little bit.
You would think I was somebody. Anyway.
You are somebody.
Oh, shit. I know y'all tired of me listening.
No,
not at all. Not at all.
Gee, okay. Got a phone call from, where's Tennessee?
Tennessee State, A&I, the black college?
Black College at Tennessee State. All black college. The instructor, the period was up, time was up. And Washington, without consulting me, the instructor at Tennessee State told me. He said, welcome, Smith. You've been selected to come to Tennessee State. I said, sir, Major, who are you? Oh, you can become the major of the flight instructor at Tennessee State. I said, oh, thank you, goodbye. I talked to Lorraine that night. She said, well, baby, what we gonna do? And I don't know what you gonna do. Go ahead and do what you gonna do. I wrote, who was it?
McNamara.
I wrote McNamara.
Secretary of Defense.
Secretary of Defense. I said, sir, just got this call from Tennessee State saying that they want me to teach ROTC at Tennessee State. I said, sir, I'm convinced that I can do a better job teaching if I had my master's degree. I said, I've been selected by Air Force to attend A&I at University of Indiana to get my master's degree. About a week later, who called?
The general at the European Command.
Well, yeah, he called, but there was someone called before then. That know that somebody had changed my orders,
right.
And I would go to the University of Indiana, get a master's degree. And the general at General European Command General called me. Said, Captain, I'm sorry, your letter didn't come to command. I said, sir, I've been in the Air Force now for about 15 years. He said, well, Captain, you don't understand my command. I said, sir, I'm sorry. That general that said, Captain, good luck at teaching at the University of Indiana. That's right.
So back to the States again.
Back to the States.
So what was being back in school like?
Oh, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
that was beautiful. That was beautiful. I enjoyed Indiana. I had to write a thesis, not a thesis, but a paper. But this time I did pretty good. Because I was used to writing then, back in school. The teachers were good. Everything was good. When I left there, I had to go by my commander, not the commander, the guy who was in charge of the U.S. of the training school. He was very nice. He gave me a copy of his book, and he said, Smith, you're going to Vietnam. Mm. He had the orders. I hadn't received the orders, but he had, as head of the school there, he had. He said, good luck.
And so when you got your master's degree, you also got your orders to go to Vietnam
That's
at
right.
the same time.
That's right.
You probably knew it was coming, right? But just because of the commitment was increasing in Vietnam.
Increased in Vietnam.
Yeah.
What was my
At Vietnam?
Vietnam? Oh, right.
67?
Yeah, in '67, you arrived in Ton Son, and in February of '67. So tell them about that when you first got to Ton Son and how they had to find something.
Okay. When I got first landed at Constitute, we landed in a regular civilian airport, but you could hear firing all around, shots. They said, you're going to stay here temporarily until they figure out where they're going to send you. I had a chief operation.
Yeah, but when you got to Ton Son, you were an operations staff officer.
Okay.
And then after about 10 days, they sent you to Phan Rang,
That's
where
right.
you became the chief tactical
That's
operation
right. That's right.
Yeah.
In that job, I was commanding C-123 type aircraft that was hauling food from South Vietnam out to bases to the north of us.
Tell them how when you got there, how you set up the plexiglass board.
That's right.
But they had converted the
It was a command already, but it was a fighter squadron command. You know, it had a big plexiglass board set up, but it was for fighters. I had to change it several ways to put my C-123s on a different side, and the nomenclature for their mission was different than the fighters was. Along with this command post, I had a big communication box. I wasn't ordered to command on it, but I received all communications according to my 123s. This particular morning, I got a command saying that you have lost 2 123s taken off from Khe Sanh. And that's a long story, but we're going to cut it short. America took over Khe Sanh for what reason, I don't know. It was out in the boondocks. I just don't know. Anyway, I told the air traffic controller, I said, this is the chief controller at Phan Rang. How many 123s I have orbiting now at Khe Sanh? They tell me, sir, you have 12 123s orbiting K-Son, sir, hold those 123s there until you hear from me. Now, I was talking loud because I wanted my commander to hear me, because I'm sure he didn't realize I was black and nobody else thought I was black, but his commander came out, my commander came out of the office and said, Smith, what's wrong? I said, sir, here's the phone. They talked for about 30 seconds. I switched back to my office, and I forget my colonel's name, damn it. He passed me and said, Smith, carry on what you're doing. Carry on. I didn't know, even though I've been in the Air Force for 20 years, I didn't know that the military orders were such that K-Son had been under attack or wasn't under attack. But evidently the commanders knew, because my commander said, Smith, carry on. I don't know what the other two men were talking about. And about 2 hours later, aircraft, 123s, 130s, were beginning to land at Quezon unmolested.
This was for the evacuation. You were getting
Yes,
Marines out of there?
Continue evacuation. I don't know what that run star, I didn't even know I had a damn run star. I don't know what that run star was for or anything. In fact, I don't know what anything on that board was because I had it locked up.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that bronze star was for me giving orders
Those C-123.
to C-123 to re-land and take off. And I have met several commanders, several
Marines.
Marines.
And, yeah.
In fact, we just left
Yeah.
visit one that visited us
Yeah. That was at Quezon.
at Quezon. And
Yeah.
they said, thank you, Colonel Smith.
Yeah, what you didn't realize is that Quezon was the most important battle of Vietnam. They were so concerned that those 6,000 Marines were going to be overrun. They had thought about using tactical nuclear weapons at Quezon. So the Air Force getting those C-123s, the supplies, and again, it was. I'm sorry, Dad, I know it's emotional. Yeah, it was a pretty incredible thing that you were a part of.
Okay, what else do we have?
I know this is hard because of the things you saw when you were in Vietnam and some of the experiences that you had while you were over there. Is that as you think about it now, is that what makes it hard? Some of those memories?
Yeah, he talked about some stuff that was just horrific. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like to talk about Vietnam. Dad, tell them about, out of your peripheral vision, that what you thought was firewood. When you were in Vietnam, when you...
What do you mean when I was walking by this?
Yeah.
I was walking by this, I guess it was a morgue or mortuary. I thought a bunch of uniform, a bunch of wood stacked up where you stack up logs by a fireplace, for your fireplace. Mm-hmm. The closer I got to it, I kept hearing a voice saying, help me, help me. I said, so close I got, I saw that it was a bunch of soldiers, about 20, 25 soldiers had been stacked beside the logs that were brought in from the battlefield in trucks and just dumped beside the mortuary, I guess. And so I went inside. I had my uniform on, Major Bars, went inside. I said, well, let me talk to whoever's in charge. I said, would you come follow me, please? He said, what's wrong, Major? I said, just follow me. And he went outside and his voice again, help me, help me. He looked at me and I looked at him. I said, all right, well, let's do something. He pulled 2 or 3 logs of men off of that helped me, and it was a live soldier asking for help. I helped him take it back into the room, back into the room there. And he said, the guy said to me, "You're not going to tell nobody this." I said, "Sir, this is your job. I had no business in it in the first place." I said, "Carry on with your duty." That's it.
So they didn't diagnose post-traumatic stress when you first got out, did they, Dad?
No.
Your experience later on in your career where you're advocating for veterans.
Yes.
To try to understand.
That's right.
What they went through.
That's right.
And so.
That's right.
I think even as you think about your experience and try to understand what you went through, you've done this for a lot of other men as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We have it in Washington, the Board of Veterans Appeals.
Uh-huh.
They approve or disapprove claims submitted by their officers in the country, and they said my rate of approval was one of the highest that they'd seen in Washington.
Yeah.
That's where I guess I left my Waco office in about 10 years, I guess. It was terrible.
Yeah.
You did good, Dad. You did very well. You did very well.
Well, I just hope you understand.
Yeah. Well, it's I know for a long time you didn't want to talk about it, and I understand that because it's hard to talk about. But for your son to understand, for other people to understand, hearing it in your words, it's a lot better than reading it in a book or having some historian write about it. And so I admire your courage to be able to tell about your experience.
On a more positive note, because this is for us. When he was flying the C-133s from Honolulu to Wake Islands, on his way back, he would ask the tower to change frequencies, and he would call his wife and ask her what Jackie Robinson and the Dodgers are doing, because he was a big Dodger fan, right? And Jackie Robinson had just crossed it. And so I think that's pretty neat that he's flying a plane across the Pacific. And he said my mom didn't know anything about baseball, but she learned so that she could be able to give him
you an update, huh?
Yeah, give you the update.
She learned how to read a box score.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty neat. That for back then they were living life, And yeah, you did well, Dad.
Well, Lieutenant Colonel Smith, I want to thank you for taking time to talk to us today.
Yes, sir.
And for sitting down and sharing some of your
Appreciate
experiences.
And then for him, that stuff will still be locked up.
That's right. And this process, it's been neat. Just these few months of getting these things out and being able to share your story.
I definitely had a sense of urgency, and I appreciate you guys coming out. That's so incredible. All right, Dad, I'll take you. I'll take you back to your room and get ready to fix you some lunch. You did well, Dad.
We took a lot more of your time than you were very generous with your time. Thank you,
sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Did you ever run across the name of Woolfolk as a historian?
Woolfolk. No.